everybody. How you doing out there? All right, so let me tell you a little bit about me before we get started. I am a very energetic chef. So I will ask you to relax a little bit, just, maybe like move your shoulders back. It's been a long day, so I want you all to relax. It's going to get a little hot in here because we're going to start cooking in a few minutes. So if you want to rest your coats and put on some smiles for me, it's very kind of like intimidating when everybody's like this looking at you. But I want you to be, excited and happy about being here today. Okay, so I know you had a long day, and kudos, and I salute all you women who have been out working today, and then you came here to watch me cook this fabulous meal for you all to taste later on. And I'm going to be calling a few people from the audience to come up here and help me. So hopefully you like to get your hands dirty, because I got some onions that need to be chopped. I got some garlic that need to be chopped. So I don't know how many people married in here, but your husband might think you smell funny later. Okay, so anyway, let me tell you a little bit about me. I am a native of Kalamazoo. I've been living here most of my life with my parents and my grandparents. And so actually my grandmother is right here in the front row. Let's give her a hand. Thank you for coming today. My husband, my daughter, and my sister is here. My best friend is here. So I'm just cousins and clients. So I am just so excited to see everybody here supporting me today. You all do not know how great it is to see people that you know in the audience that love what you do and that's coming to support. So today, let me tell you what we're going to be cooking and then eating. So we're going to do a white chicken chili, and I have a couple of spices to add to it. Now, the chili is already done and it's already warm, but it's just continuing to warm and baking all those seasonings while we cook some samples, because I want you all to be able to learn how to cook it the same way that I prepare it, okay? The one thing that I hate about chefs is, and not all chefs do this, is they give you a recipe that's not really the recipe. And so when you get it home and you try to cook it, it doesn't taste the same. So tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly what I do step by step, and so that when you go home, I also have some recipes already out for you, so you'll be able to take this home. But when you get home and when you make this meal, you'll be able to get on Facebook and be like, Chef Kay, thank you. It tastes exactly how it was when we was at the Douglas, okay? All right, so y'all ready to roll? Y'all ready to roll? All right, that's what it sounds like in here. Let's get some movement going on. So who want to help me? Everybody don't raise their hand at once. Okay, come on over. Come on up, state your name. All right, Miss Gigi, y'all give it up for Miss Gigi. Come on around here, Miss Gigi. All right, so Miss Gigi, you got some season on you, so I already know you know how to cook a little bit, that's right?
I tried.
Well, that's good. Okay, so I have some sanitizer right here, and we're going to get ready to get this all started over here. Now, the reason we call this cooking for your soul is because food has a lot of soul in it. Do you all agree with me? When I cook, I love to put a lot of love in my food. And a lot of people say, well, how do you put love in your food? It's all about your seasonings. It's all about the people you care about. It's all about loving what you do and having a passion for what you do. So that's how I season my food with love. It's because I have a passion and a love for the people who I'm cooking for. And it doesn't matter if I know them or not, I still want them to enjoy every bite of what it is that I'm making. All right? All right. So with our chicken chili, we're going to start out with some boneless, skinless chicken breasts, okay? Now, sometimes I like to add thighs in this also, because dark meat give you that juice. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't like dark meat, but honey, I got a new revelation when I got a little bit older. So I'm going to start this out, and I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of olive oil in this pot. And if you have a pot or a Dutch oven, you could even do this in a huge pan. But once we get to add in everything, if your pan is not thick enough, then it'll start to overflow. That's just a little cinnamon right there.
Okay.
All right, so if you can start cutting this onion up for me, you know how to do that?
I think so.
All right, just cut that mug in half and listen at me calling it a mug. Let me get some right grammar up in here. But you know, when you're cooking, you want to be just relaxed. Now flip that over and just cut it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's how you do that. She know how to chop this thing. You've been watching the Food Network? Well, she know what she doing. So now let's just flip them over. Now make sure in your kitchen you have a first aid kit, because when you're dealing with knives and all these type of things, you need to make sure that if you cut yourself, you're all covered. But you know, she got this right here, so we're not worried. Oh, she done flipped it up. She done said, forget this. I'm just going to flip it and do it however I want to.
You said the cutting. I don't want to cut myself.
Oh, no, you ain't going to cut yourself. All right. Listen at me telling her what she's not going to do. All right. So we got our onions in here, right? We don't have to make them just perfect.
Can you put the rest of them in here?
Yeah, throw them on in here. Okay. So we're going to let those start to cook and caramelize, okay? So you go ahead and stir those, and we're going to let those cook for about 5 minutes until they're about translucent. Go ahead, stir that. Yeah, we don't want that to get, And so while she's doing that, I'm going to get my garlic ready, okay? You all can't see, so I'm going to move some stuff out the way so I can show you how we do this here.
What is this cooking thing here?
What's that?
Your skillet, your heat.
Oh, the heat? Oh, yeah, this is just a top burner. You can buy this. I bought this at Walgreens. Can you believe it? It was $12.99. Oh, wow. And you can just put it right on top of your counter, and you can just cook something. Now, I wouldn't advise frying any chicken or nothing like that. Nothing where the grease is going to be popping or you're going to be messed up. All right? All right. So can you see me with my garlic? I'm going to take 4 garlic cloves, and then this is what we're going to do. Take the side of the knife like this. We're going to lay it right there, and we're just going to hit it. And that smashes our garlic, right? Yep. Boom. Keep on stirring them in. Oh, yeah. Now, the garlic only need about 30 seconds because you don't want it to burn, okay? If your garlic burn, all your flavor is going out the window. All right? It's going out the window. And in a few more minutes, y'all gonna start smelling everything that's coming out of this pot right here. Wow. Now, in the midst of this cooking, y'all let me know if you have any questions. But what I'm gonna do is chop this garlic up just like so. So y'all don't get those big old bites, right? All right. How are we looking there? Yeah.
You just smashed it first?
I just smashed it first, and then I peeled that skin right off. It just falls right off when you smash it down, okay? And so then your garlic is gonna look like this. Every time you make garlic, you should smash it and chop it up so that when you get that bite, it doesn't make your taste buds, it kind of make you do like that, and it's a little weird tasting if you eat it without cooking it, or sauteing it. So I want to make sure that you dice it very finely, okay? All right, so we got our onions going on in there, and we're going to add that garlic, right? Y'all starting to smell that a little bit? Not yet? Okay. Some said no, some say yeah.
Put some salt on it and tear them up.
All right now. I like this now. All right, so now right here we have our boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Okay? It's already been rinsed and it's all ready to go. All right? So now you can get ground chicken, but I like the chicken breast. Okay? So I'm going to cut this into some pieces, right? Sure. No, you can cut the chicken breast any way you want to. Most chefs will say, cut it this way, cut it that way. When you cook it, it all tastes the same. So you can dice it up, you can grind it up, and you can slice it just how I'm doing right now, and it's all going to taste the same once you get it in there, okay? All right. So I'm going to add this to our onions and our garlic, okay? And keep on stirring. Depending on how much you're making, I would say about 4 to 7, okay, for a family of 4 to 5 people, okay? And then it's dependent on how many bowls. Yeah, because you know you want to bite of that chicken every time you pull that spoon up, right? All right. All right. So now that that's starting to cook, I'm going to go over here and do this. How your hands feeling?
Good.
Feeling all right? Mm-hmm. All right. So now I'm going to flip this over because I got some other things to start doing. All right, be careful right there now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want nothing to happen. Yep. All right, so just let that rest for a little while. You know, you can just let it rest. Okay? So now I'm going to add my seasonings to it. Come on, give our guest chef a hand. Oh, here we go, right here. Can I get another sous chef, please? Come on. Come on, state your name, baby. What's your name, honey? Rebecca? All right, give it up for Rebecca. All right, Rebecca. How old are you?
13.
You like cooking? You do? Why you like cooking?
Because it's fun and it makes me happy and I like the flavors.
She said it makes her happy. She liked the flavors. That's all good because when people eat your food, they want to taste that flavor, right? So that's what I brought you up here for. We're going to bring on the flavor, baby. You ready? All right. So I have some fennel. How many people ever taste fennel? You ever seen fennel? You ever taste fennel seeds? Okay. So we're going to add fennel. We're going to have some ground cumin or cumin. We're going to have some chili powder. I got some red pepper flakes. I got some black pepper. And I got some sea salt, and all this is getting ready to go into that. Now, if you sit there and think about it, you'll be like, now that's a lot of stuff she's getting ready to put in there, and I don't know if that's enough meat, and I don't know how that's going to taste. It might be too salty or whatnot, but trust me, it is not, because you want to make sure that your chicken is always seasoned well. Okay, so I'm not very heavy-handed on the salt, but I want to make sure that you taste all of the other flavors that we're getting ready to do, okay? All right, so, gotta clean them hands, girl. All right, so I got some, let's see, got some gloves down here. I'm gonna have you put these on. Y'all all right out there? And just feel free to throw any questions at me that you want. Yes, I love using sea salt because it does not have as much sodium as Morton salt or kosher salt. So sea salt is very low in sodium. So if you have high blood pressure, anybody in your family with high blood pressure, you want to make sure you get something with that low sodium. You know, we like to salt our food, but I'm telling you now, a lot of salt is not good for us. And I'm sure all of you lovelies know that. Okay, so you ready to start making this? Season this chicken and getting it on started right here. All right, so we're going to add this fennel. This is about 2 tablespoons of fennel. Just pour it on in there. Yeah, just like that. Okay, get that chili. 2 tablespoons of chili powder. Now, right here, we're going to put 1 tablespoon of the ground cumin, okay? So go ahead. Now shake it off. She already know what to do. How you know what to do? Are you in the kitchen cooking? Mm-hmm. All right. So this is what I'm going to do with this sea salt. We're going to put 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt in there, not the whole teaspoon, okay? And don't worry. It will be just as good when you taste it. Put that in there. All right. Now give me some pepper. Yep, just go ahead. I like to eyeball the pepper. All right, that's good. Just enough. Now let's get to stirring. Let's get to stirring. Hold it with this. So I don't want you to burn your little pretty little fingers. I don't want nobody getting upset with me. Ooh, y'all should be smelling that. That should be smelling real good right now. Pull it over just a little bit. All right. So now I love fresh herbs also. So I have some dried oregano. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this oregano, I'm going to take it off the stem, and I'm just going to put these leaves right in there. Okay? And this flavor in this chicken is going to be impeccable. You starting to smell that? See, a lot of young people only cook with like butter and sugar and syrup and peanut butter and jelly. I'm teaching you how to do it the grown folks way, okay? Yeah, now see, look at that. Look how good that looks. You like the way that's looking? She looking like, I don't know about that, because that chili powder got it looking a little burgundy-ish or brown-ish. It looks real funny to you, don't it? Keep on stirring. That's I like that. Yeah, that's looking good right there. You can get all these seasonings right from your local grocery store, your Myers. What do we have here? Harding's. We have Park Street Market. You can go right there. I really love Myers just because I go there all the time and I think everything looks fresh sometimes. So I really love Myers. So I'm giving a shout out to Myers. I want my money. When all my people come, I want you to write me a check. Sorry, that was a little commercial. Okay, so I got some Cannellini beans right here, and I'm going to drain these off into my little water right here. And the Cannellini beans are good for you, okay? All right. How many people know why beans are good for you? Anybody? They're fiber, protein, they're good for your heart. It's good for heart disease. It helps your digestive tract. It's good for dieting. So beans are very good for you. And a lot of children don't like beans, but a good way to get kids to eat beans is to involve them in the cooking experience. I have learned over the years by involving my children into my cooking experience that they will eat whatever I cook because I make them think that they made it up, you know? So that's all you got to do is you got to play a little reverse psychology on them. Okay, so we're going to add these beans to this chicken. Look at her face. She's looking like, oh, Lord have mercy. What have I gotten myself into? Yes, you can use Great Northern beans. Those are really good. Has the same source of vitamins and everything in Great Northern beans. Some people like red beans. It just all depends. For white chicken chili, I typically like to use the white bean. So the Great Northern beans are good, and the Cannellini beans are excellent. It's really not a huge difference between the two, and honestly, if I sat here and tried to dissect it, I really couldn't make a huge distinction. One is just smaller and one is a little bit more oval and plump to me. Now, another chef may give you some theology about where the beans was, where they planted the seed and where the beans came up. I don't do that because I don't really know. I just know they come from the ground and one is smaller than the other. You know what I'm saying? I like when chefs just be honest with people because the culinary jargon can kind of scare you from the kitchen. So don't try to just ace everything. Just do what you do and do it well, okay? All right. So I'm trying to stay on task, y'all. That's why I got these right here because I can kind of get off a little bit and then y'all will be trying to figure me out. All right. Leave it right there. Yes, we use more cans of beans. So in the recipe, it'll tell you maybe use 4 to 5 cans of beans. Make sure you drain them, and either you can rinse them or you can just pour them right over just to add more cream to it, okay? All right, so let's give it up for Rebecca. She did a good job. Can you feel those up?
Thank you.
Now, when you become a chef, make sure you look me up, okay? All right. You see, I'm making connections because I want all my rewards when, when we get done with this, okay? Okay, so next up, how many have ever had a rainbow chard green? You seen it at the store? Look at my husband and my daughter is like me. You seen it at the store? Okay, so this green is kind of in the spinach family, kind of. It has a texture almost like a collard green, kind of, but it's a little bit more sweeter. It has a little bit more bite than spinach. Okay, it has all the nutrients as other greens, so it's good for your heart. It's good for diets. You can saute this in some olive oil or a half a tablespoon of butter, and you can add a little garlic powder to it and a little onion powder to it, and you can eat it with just some grilled chicken, okay? Or you can put it on top of a salad. But I would just say make sure that you measure out your olive oil, because sometimes with greens they wilt very easily, so if you put a lot of oil, it'll be a little oily. So if you're going to use something like olive oil or butter, make sure you use a half a teaspoon if you're just going to saute it, okay? So what I'm going to do is do it just like collard greens, okay? So we're going to pull it off the stem, just like so. Any kids want to come up and help me pick these greens? Come on, since you lifted up that hand, come on over here. So what's your name? Brianna. All right, give it up for Brianna. You said Rihanna? Oh, I'm sorry, it's Rihanna. Oh, like the singer? Girl, sing.
I can't.
I'm just playing. Okay, now let's get this. Now, if you are anything like my daughter, every time I ask her to pick greens, she's kind of like, really? How many bundles or whatever? And it's always like 8 to 10 bundles of greens, because we typically cook greens on the holidays, okay? So now we're adding these greens to our chili mixture for some more texture, okay? So I'm gonna have you, did you see how I did that? Okay, so do these the same way. And when you get done, I want you to roll it up just like you're rolling like in the shape of a pole or a stick or something like that, okay? Don't be scared, just pull it apart. You don't have to do it exactly like me. You can just pull that thing apart. All right, now that's smelling really good in there. Any questions so far? All right. This is called a rainbow Swiss chard. Yep, and it's rainbow because it got that red little stem. It's really sweet, and you'll be able to taste it because the texture is very good. It's not as thin as spinach, like I said. It has a really great bite to it. So you're really gonna like it, and I love it in all of our food. Well, not all of it, but most of it, especially when we make casseroles, okay? So remember how I told you roll? Roll real tight. You ever used a butcher knife before?
Yeah.
All right. All right, so we're gonna cut just like this, okay?
Okay.
You left-handed, right-handed. There you go. I'm loving this. Give it up for the young girls in the kitchen, okay? She doesn't have her phone. She's not on social media. She's up here cooking with me. I'm loving that, okay? There you go. Awesome. Now just grab those and just dump it in that pot. Okay, so we got our chicken, we got our beans, we got our onions, we got our garlic in here, and so we're just gonna let that cook up. So just stir that up for me, okay? Now, typically I would add corn to this, okay? Now, there is corn in the one that we're going to eat on tonight, okay? But I did not bring extra corn for this one right here, but we do have the greens in there, okay? So that's good. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some chicken broth and I'm gonna pour this in here to liquefy it, yes. Oh, sure, oh yeah, sure, you can take pictures. All right, stir up. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even see my corn. What'd I do? See, I'm going too fast. I did bring some corn. So we're going to add this corn to this too. Okay, I'm sorry about that, y'all. A little oversight there. All right, so now we're just going to let that simmer, okay? And when we let that simmer down, the greens will start to cook in there. All those seasonings will start to merge. And what will happen is all those flavors will start marrying together. And then I'm going to let you taste and see just how great it is. So thank you. Let's give it up for our sous chef. All right. You can use frozen corn. You sure can. In fact, I like frozen corn even a little bit better because I don't have to twist, the can and do all that crazy stuff. So, okay. So I'm going to add this cream of chicken probably in about 20 minutes after this starts to simmer down, okay? And we're just going to let that simmer for about 20 or 30 minutes. Now, if you're making a bigger batch of this, then you're going to let it simmer for about 45 to 50 minutes, okay? So you just have to kind of gauge. Now, I could tell you how to make this pot that we're making will feed maybe about 3 people, okay? So now when you take this home, you say, oh my God, how much would I make for 4 people, 5 people, 6 people? I have a whole group of people coming over for, say for instance, some type of birthday party or whatnot. So the recipe that I've given you right here will feed 6 to 10 people, okay? So then you can condense down as much as you like. But if I'm making chili, it's gonna last me about 2 days or more. I don't know how many people like leftovers. Hey, then you all right with me. I'm telling you right now, some people say, I don't eat no leftovers. I'm like, what? That's the best part. You know, it's when you get them leftovers and all that seasoning get to sitting in that food, you can't stop eating it. And most time I think people be fibbing anyway, because on Thanksgiving and Christmas, I know they get their blow tails up the next day, and they be in that little greens and dressing and cornbread and mac and cheese, and they be tearing some food up, right? So, so I was looking on Google the other night, and I came up across, I was Googling like, who's the first black cook and all this stuff. So I came across this name. There was an African-American lady named Melinda Russell, and she was from Paw Paw, Michigan. She had wrote the first African-American cookbook in 1866. I was like, oh my God, that's so close. I never knew that. Culinary school didn't teach me that. Nobody told me about it. I'm just thinking that my grandmother Mildred Morgan just learned this, and this was like a gift from the Lord, and she just knew how to cook. And you know, we all have our grandparents that can really throw down. They have those secret recipes. They give them to you, and then they tell you don't give it to nobody else, and you know, so on and so forth. But I thought it was very interesting that the lady Melinda Russell lived in Paw Paw, Michigan. That's 15 minutes away from here. And if I were to talk to her on today, if I had a question for her, I would ask her what inspired her to write a cookbook, because I have a lot of recipes. You know, I'm interested. I wrote a few cookbooks. I got a few right over here. But it seems like a lot of cookbooks are more you know, it talk about the same thing, same ingredients. There's never any stories in there that have feeling and depth and some history to it. So I would ask her, how would she marry that history with the food? That's why I asked you, what is some of your history? Why do you love cooking? And have you ever sat under your grandparents or your grandmother or your grandfather, and have they told you anything about cooking and why it brings the family together? A lot of people, I don't know if you know this, but sometimes, you know, even before I start calling my kids in the kitchen, I would just cook by myself. Everybody's everywhere. But when I pull my family in, they feel a part of the meal, and we can enjoy it that much better. Sometimes I think we should pull our kids from social media. We should pull them out their bedrooms. We should pull them from in front of that TV and be like, come in here and cook with me. And you start to learn things. Your kids start to tell you stuff that maybe you want to know and maybe you don't want to know. But nevertheless, you are together, you're learning each other, you're laughing, you're smiling, and that's all about putting that love in that food. Your family is together. So the one nugget that I want you to have when you leave here is learn to bring your family, involve your family into your cooking, make it a huge event. Even if you're making a cupcake, Teresita, or even if you're making just a banana pudding or just anything, just bring your children in the kitchen with you and make them feel involved, because a lot of times we're so busy pleasing everybody else, doing everything that we're supposed to do as women and some men, that we forget to involve our children, and so they kind of get left, you know, and they're kind of like, when they grow up and they're like 14, 15, they only know how to make a sandwich. They don't know how to fry no chicken, you know, they don't know how to make no chicken chili. They don't know nothing about like really cooking. And I'm not saying at 14 they should be throwing down and making dressing and greens and cornbread and stuff like that. But they should have some idea of how to put a meal together. So that's the one nugget that I want you to take. Yes. Right. Yeah, now, you know, cooking can bring some families together. Now, family reunions, Christmas, all kind of events, even on your birthday. What you doing for your birthday? Going out to dinner? I mean, you already been out to dinner 3 times that week, but it's your birthday, you're going out to dinner. So food brings about conversation, comfort, love, passion, communication. All those things starts to happening when you get food involved. I heard this man say to me, he said, if you want to get some money out of somebody, invite them out to dinner and get to talking to them, because they start to open up. And then they get like very vulnerable when the food is good. So I don't know if it works or not, but it worked with my husband. Cook some good food, he'd be like, baby, this good. I'd be like, is it good? I'd be like, ooh, because I sure needed this, such and such and such. And he'd be like, well, where you see it? How much was it? Now, earlier, he was talking about, ain't nobody spending no money, ain't nobody doing nothing. We saving because we doing something for our future. I'm like, feed them some good food, sit down. And, you know, another thing I like to do is I like to make our food look pretty. A lot of people just slap the food on the plate and just hand it to you. If you went to a restaurant, would you like if the cook did that to you? You would send that plate back or get up and leave the restaurant. So when you make people's plates or your family member's plate, put a little love on there. You know what I'm saying? It might be all the kind of food that run all together, but honey, make it look pretty when they first get it. They can let the juices flow and fuse and do whatever they want to do, but when they get their plate, let them know I put a thought into this and I love you and I appreciate you. So here you go. I appreciate you going to school and, you know, getting good grades. I appreciate you going to work and paying all the bills. Thank you. and, you know, even if you pay all the bills at the time, you know, your husband, you balance off of each other. So the one thing we can do as women is appreciate our family by showing them love in our cooking, okay? So I got a sweet potato in my hand, I got a potato peeler, and I'm gonna move right along. Our soup is still cooking. All those flavors are starting to marry, and I'm gonna add this cream of chicken and a little bit of heavy whipping cream and some Parmesan cheese, and then we're gonna get ready to taste, okay? So the sweet potato, let me tell you something. I grew up cutting sweet potatoes with knives. The devil is a liar. I cannot do that again, because the sweet potatoes these days look like big old rocks that I have never. Did you see them sweet potatoes over Thanksgiving? They were like this big. I was like, what is this? So anyway, I found these small ones at Gordon's, which they typically don't sell sweet potatoes, but they had these small ones. So I purchased them to bring them here on today. So look how easy that is. I just love that. It's so easy. It's quick. I can peel like 10 of these in maybe like, I don't know, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, just depending on how fast I'm trying to, you know, get done cooking, okay? So this is my recipe for sweet potatoes. How many people love sweet potatoes? Ooh, ain't that good? Okay, how'd you hear they were different? Well, yeah. Okay. It's the same with that bean, okay? One big and one small. It's no difference. I may actually, for Thanksgiving, they had yams at Park Street Market. I won my money, Park Street. They were like this big, okay? I bought 5 of them. Now, if I would have bought sweet potatoes, I probably would have bought 10. You see what I'm saying? But those 5 big ones were so big, I could get, you know, 1 potato was the equivalent to 2 sweet potatoes. You see what I'm saying? So I bought 5 opposed to 10, and it still came out with the same quantity. They didn't taste no different. I used my same recipe. It didn't taste any different, and they was good to the last drop, okay? So then I have this. It's a slicer. Now, let me put a disclaimer out there, because nobody told me that this little blade will almost cut your hand off, okay? Nobody told me that. So, you know, I had this one at first, but then I wanted to get a little bit more fancy and a little bit more quick. I said, oh, this one, you know, it don't have all this stuff on it, you know, all that. That's just a big old contraption. Now, this one is better, you know, because it comes with a top, and I had the top up here somewhere. Maybe I put it underneath my table, but there's a top, and it has these prongs on it, and you can actually stick your potato in, and you can like roll it down like that. Okay, now this one, it takes a little bit more concentration. Okay, so this is what this does. Y'all hear my music? Have a little music going on while you're cooking. It'll keep you in the mood. All right, and don't talk on the phone while you're cooking either. All right, so remember them big old sweet potatoes your mama used to cook? She used to cut them, and they used to be all different kind of sizes and all that stuff. They were still good, but they were just real big. I remember that too. That's okay. So now, now you can slice them same size, right? They cook in half the time. Remember how them sweet potatoes used to take 5 hours to cook on low? You can slice them just like this, and they will cook in about 1.5 hours, okay? So now, I'm gonna tell you, this is how I make mine. I wash them, peel them, slice them, right? Just like this. Just like that. And so what I like to do is, sweet potatoes make their own water, okay? So you don't have to add water to your pot. That's something a lot of people don't know. A lot of people boil their sweet potatoes, so then when they're finished, it's like sweet potato mush. Like you try to put them into a bowl, and they all start to break apart, okay? So don't add water to the sweet potatoes. They will start to liquefy themselves, okay? All you need to do is lay your sweet potatoes in a pan or a pot, just like so. And then you need to cover them with sugar. It's white sugar at first, okay? It's white sugar, and I'm just doing it right here so you all can kind of get the idea. So if I had a pan, I would do it just like this. And I hope the camera can get this so people can see, okay? So we got this just like this, right? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add more sweet potatoes on top of that, right? I'm gonna have to do it on this side. Now it's not gonna be as much as you see right there, but you're gonna get the picture. You're gonna get the idea, okay? So then you add your second layer, right? In your pan, and then you add more sugar, okay? And you're gonna do that until your sweet potatoes are gone. Now, I don't want you all to get nervous talking about some, oh Lord, I'm about to have a sugar attack. Oh my God. What's gonna happen is the liquid from those sweet potatoes is going to marry that sugar, that's gonna melt down, and it's gonna give you that liquid that's gonna cook your sweet potatoes, okay? And then it's gonna start giving them that flavor that we all love with those sweet potatoes. So you're gonna let those cook for about 1.5 hours, and then you're gonna add 1/3 cup of brown sugar. Okay, if you add your brown sugar first, what'll happen is the sweet potatoes start to get sticky and brown because the brown sugar cooks down with the heat, and it start to caramelize too soon. So you don't want your sweet potatoes to caramelize fast. You don't want that caramelize to get on to it's almost time to eat them, okay? So after about an hour and a half, sweet potatoes are tender. You'll add that brown sugar. You're gonna add 1 stick of butter. You're gonna add some vanilla flavoring and some rum flavoring. I ain't talking about the rum at the liquor store. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about imitation rum flavoring at your local grocery store, okay? All you need is a half a teaspoon. The recipe is on this piece of paper. It will be something that you cannot even explain. They are so good, okay? Just let them cook down, add your cinnamon for your seasoning, and you will be in the mix. Trust me. When you taste them today, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's how I make my sweet potatoes. Any questions? Yes? No. You can if you want to. I don't. I just dump a whole stick of butter right on top of everything, and it just all start to melt and caramelize and marry together, and it just makes like a wonderful, wonderful dish. Okay? So again, don't put your brown sugar in there until the end. Don't put your butter in until the end, because what will happen is your butter, the flavor will cook right out. So you put your butter in at the end. Okay, and then you add your cinnamon, and then you just let that simmer in a pot for about 10 or 15 more minutes until that butter is melted, and you'll see that brown sugar start to like roll down and melt down in between that liquid, and it'll begin to season your potatoes. Now everybody cook their potatoes different. That's just my way. That's how I learned growing up to make sweet potatoes. So I just wanted to share my recipe with you. You can cook them your own way. Some people put marshmallows, they bake them. I don't bake them. I cook them right on top of the stove. I don't cover them. I let them just cook, and it just smells up the room. Okay, the rum, you can smell the rum, you can smell the vanilla, you can smell the butter. It's fantastic, okay? It's almost like you want to put a crust on it and call it like a sweet potato pie, but it's not soft and, you know, like blended like how we do sweet potato pie, okay? You get that bite to it. Any questions? No questions for me? Anybody? All right, so that's the one? Yes. Rum flavoring, yes, yep. You can buy it right in the aisle where all the seasonings are. Yep, rum flavoring. You can use orange extract. Ooh, it's so good, I'm telling you. When you bite down, you would think I can't even explain. You'll taste. Any other questions? Because like I said, what'll happen is it'll start caramelizing, and it'll make everything start getting thick and like sticky, and it'll start sticking to the sides of the pan. Because what brown sugar does, if anybody ever made caramel before, you can use brown sugar to make caramel, and you know what happens with that. It starts to stick to the pan if you don't have enough butter and all those things. So you want to make sure that you put your brown sugar in last, right? Okay. All right, so I'm gonna add some heavy whipping cream to this, and this is just gonna make it creamy. It also changes the color a little bit too, to that creamy color. And then I'm gonna add some Parmesan cheese. It's gonna be so good. And then our soup is all done. Now, the cream of chicken is optional. You don't have to put it in there. Sometimes I like to put it in there just to give it more flavor. It's totally up to you, okay? You can make this chili for about $17 or $18, okay? Depending on how many people you're trying to feed. If you're trying to feed a family of 4, you can kind of do it for about 20 bucks, okay? So just to kind of give you an idea, you can buy 10 sweet potatoes at the store for about $6. You already have white sugar at home. Most people have vanilla at home. You really don't have to put the rum in there. Just follow that same recipe and add some brown sugar, butter. You're good to go, right? So you can make sweet potatoes for about $6, okay? 10 sweet potatoes will feed about 8 people, depending on portion size, right? Okay. So I just wanted to say that you all want me to put some of this cream and chicken in here? You're going to eat that one. And this one, you know, you can have some if you want to, but I'll just put it in there. All right. So you want to go and get those. Give it up for my husband. Ain't he fine? He just coming. He just come and support me. He said he was going to leave, and he ended up staying here the whole time. I knew he wasn't going to leave anyway. It's food involved. Men don't leave when food is involved, and this is dinner for tonight, okay? Oh, man. All right. So I end up adding that cream of chicken in there. And that's just going to make it real creamy. And you all should be able to smell this. It smells so good. And then you have those big chunks of chicken in there. So, you know, when you bite it, you're just going to be like, oh, my God, I need more, I need more, I need more. We got some cornbread. Now, let me tell you, I'm getting like Emerald, okay? So Emerald says, why try to fix something that's already, that's already made, okay? You don't have to try to reinvent the wheel. So if you go to Gordon's, they have this good cornbread. Now, I love hot water cornbread, and I'm sure some of you all that's seasoned really love hot water cornbread. You can sit it right on top of there. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
I'll just take my sample off the top.
Oh, you take your sample off the top, okay. Gordon's has this cornbread, and it's really good, and a lot of times I use it when I have a lot of people coming over for dinner, because I'm just not going to stand at that stove and make like 40 pieces of hot water cornbread. It's just not happening. You know what I'm saying? Like my grandmother used to do all that stuff. When my uncles used to come from out of town, she would stand there and just keep making hot water cornbread, and it seemed like they never got full. But, they just want more and more and more. And so it's like when you buy the cornbread and bring it in, they just eat one piece. So why keep making more when they'll just eat one piece and be quiet? I know you all think I'm very funny, but this cornbread from Gordon's is excellent. It tastes just like everybody's favorite. You grew up with it, even though you make your homemade cornbread. And believe me, I make my homemade cornbread when we making dressing and all that. I just had to slide that in there so y'all didn't think I made Jiffy Mix with my dressing. No. Because it'll taste like cake with onions and green peppers, and that's not right. Okay? Let's make that very clear. But this Jiffy cornbread is made by Gordon's, or it's made by Sara Lee, and it is so good. So when you all taste that, just go out to Gordon's. Gordon's, I want my money. It's $9.99. You get about 35 pieces, okay? And you will enjoy it on tonight, okay? So I'm just going to taste this and see if there's any extra seasonings that I might need, and I know you all are very jealous. You did that. I just want you to know. Rihanna, you did that. Rebecca, you did that. You got them onions together. You did that. I'm just telling you right now, this is so good that I'm going to stop teaching and I'm going to sit under this table and eat the rest, and then I'll see you in about 5 minutes. I'm just playing. Well, I just want to thank you all for coming out tonight and allowing me to show you what I do in my kitchen. You hear this music in the background because I like to play music while I'm cooking. I like to talk while I'm cooking. My daughter can tell you right now, I dance while I'm cooking. You never know what I would do in the kitchen. I mean, it's all clean fun, but it's very funny.